Now, NLP often involves also several tasks. Okay, so here I was able to highlight three. First one, understanding. So through NLP, it equips computers and machines with the ability to process and comprehend the meaning of human language, including spoken and written text. Okay? So meaning through NLP, a machine is able to literally understand, and by that meaning make sense of what these words mean through its algorithms, through its processes inside, right? And in fact, when I how would a machine is able to break down a certain paragraph, for instance, a paragraph of text, and make sense on how um, that paragraph is structured out or its overall feel. No? I'll be discussing this one later when I go through the NLP pipeline. Next one, manipulation. It allows computers to or machines to modify and work with human language in various ways. This is where the use case of summarization would come in, right? Text summarization, wherein the computer is able to understand that, despite this 4+ paragraphs of words that this user is able to enter into my text field, I'm able to summarize it in, say, 1 to 2 blurbs or 1 to 2 sentences instead. So that is a form of manipulation. Okay? And lastly, generation. So it empowers computers to create human-like text or use text to create other forms of media or content, such as documents, images, and speech. Okay? Now, more of these three tasks. No? First off, in understanding. I've already mentioned this a while ago, sentiment analysis. So this involves identifying the emotional tone of a message, whether positive, negative, or neutral. Meaning, say, suppose me as a human being um, said something like, "This is fantastic. What an absolute bomb." Okay? I left this one, say, as a review, right? The system is able to understand that given statement and quantify it through the means of a score, right? Now, sentiment analysis also is another topic in itself. But in general, normally a given statement, after it has already been pre-processed and understood by the model in a way, you can use machine learning to implement sentiment analysis. Give it a score, and normally this score would range between 0 and 1. No? As a score reaches a value that is near or close to 1, it is more likely positive. It is if it is scores, say, more of like a 0. Sorry, the range is between -1 and 1. No? And so it actually varies based on the model that you use. But my point here is that you assign a score or a given value, whether is it positive, neutral, or negative. In my example here, it is overwhelmingly positive because the value is close to 1. If I say get a statement that is this sucks, I do not want to use this product ever again, then the chances are it would receive a negative score, right? If it's a value that approaches, say, 0 for instance, it is somewhat neutral. How the system is able to understand that, it uses the NLP pipeline. So later on, I'll explain. Next feature or next task is name entity recognition. So this is a feature that recognizes and classifies named entities within text. And these entities can be people, organizations, locations, places, pet names, proper nouns, etc. Okay, so one example of this one is that suppose I typed a model or I entered a sentence to a given model, an NER model at that. The model is able to distinguish the different important names within that given statement, and not only that, categorize them based on what they are. Right. So, for instance, here Tesla last Monday announced it and revamped its top-selling Model Y electric car. It's able to get or retrieve Tesla last Monday and Model Y electric car to be organization, date, and product respectively. So this is one task. And finally, we have the more obvious one is machine translation. This is converting text from one language to another while preserving its meaning. So one thing fascinating about the human language is that um, there is definitely more than one way on how you can express something. And all the more if you try to express it in a different language, right? So in NLP, machine translation ensures that, say, I try to speak Japanese, Hajime mashite jon desu yo. The machine is able to properly translate it into English and say that, nice to meet you, my name is John. Right. So you notice that the use cases of NLP, although it's a new term, that the use cases and the application that it already has right now, it's already there, right? It's just a matter of getting more familiar or getting acquainted to um its specific use case in a way. Moving on. Another task that will involve is manipulation. So one feature of this is, of course, summarization, which is condensing large pieces of text into shorter summaries while still retaining key information. Now, you may have noticed also that there are already tools right now wherein you can use like summarization. So an example of which, if you are familiar with Quillbot, you may have heard of it. And Harry, you can even use ChatGPT or Gemini, Google Gemini, to summarize text, right? So that is one use case. No? Another use case is, of course, the very obvious one is question answering. I was able to find a tool normally used for the academia. It's called, I think, Chat PDF. So notice that the play word there. Where in this application, you get a PDF document of, say, a journal or a research paper. You upload it into your website, and the model is able to immediately grasp the keywords or understand the overall content of, say, an 8-page journal article. And from there, give you interaction in the form of a chatbot. In other words, you're able to technically ask the journal questions on what is it about, right? So extracting answers to questions posed in natural language from a given data set. So, but it doesn't have to be academic in nature. It can even be just as simple as a chatbot, wherein how does it generally work, right? You try to ask it with the questions. Say, for instance, here, who discovered gravity? We all know who this one is, right? But how is the machine able to understand this question? Well, it can refer to a body of knowledge, a document, websites, a compilation of information. And this is what you would call a corpus, right? In Latin, this is body in short. Or if you're going to put it into our context, a body of knowledge, which is then used by the model to immediately get answers from, and from there provide an appropriate answer. Okay. Now, another feature is paraphrasing, wherein the machine is able to restate the meaning of a sentence or passage using different words or sentences. So again, this can also, or majority of the use cases or tools that I was able to find here is inclining more on the academic side, meaning that these are tools that can make academic work such as research, reading, synthesis, review of related literature much easier, right? And not only that, you can even make fun or use it just for fun. Like for instance, when you're trying to say something like, "Oh, who y'all messing around right now, my homies?" Um, I'm not sure if you are familiar with this accent, but this is a bit of an American, right? And from there, the model is able to understand it right and properly give to you the meaning of what that sentence is, right? So what are you doing with your friends today? So it's able to paraphrase what I said into a different way or express it into a different way. And lastly, we have generation. So here, really, the chatbot would shine. So this is where simulating conversations with humans such as us would definitely come in. Generation or chatbots fall into generation. This is because the models themselves, the GPTs, in fact, are able to generate text based on a given prompt, right? But you'll notice that it's not purely for generation alone. It would also involve analysis and understanding. Another example for generation is machine writing. Okay? So an example of which would be text prompts for a generative AI. So meaning you prompt that AI model to say generate an image for this. But if I were to make a much more fitting example of say machine writing, you can use AI to generate code if you are a programmer or a developer. So for instance, you can just type a prompt here, write a Python code for displaying the text in hello world. And from there, the model is able to provide to you the corresponding syntax for that given instruction. So in a way, you are feeding instructions to a machine and it's able to generate source code or programs for you. And lastly, text-to-speech analysis. It's a bit of in my opinion, a bit of a questionable movement for large companies such as the likes of Apple, Google, and Alexa. And when AI really took its turn in the early 2020s, no, you may have noticed that they went a bit on the backside, right? You may have noticed that it is ChatGPT who is taking the spotlight. But in a way, they are already there in the form of text-to-speech synthesis. I mean, just by saying, "Hey Siri," no, it's able to, or your phone, if you have an iPhone or an Apple device, it's able to immediately detect the voice recognition and um, sentence. I'm trying to also prevent this one also from saying this is because I have my Apple device and it would activate, but still, you get the point here, no? Another example here is Alexa, wherein you try to say, "Hey Alexa," and immediately the device would be able to detect your voice, right? So this is text-to-speech analysis. It is able to convert my voice, which is something that's audible or in audio form, make sense of it, translate it into text, and from there, trigger the machine to get my attention.